Welcome to US Coins Hub, where history meets hidden value. Today, we uncover a rare piece of American heritage, a coin that tells a story, holds mystery, and could be worth far more than its face value. So slow down, listen closely, and step into the timeless world of rare and valuable US coins. Let's dive into today's video. Top 1 today, we're shining a spotlight on an American classic, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar. This coin may look familiar to many of you, but what if I told you that one of these coins, under the right circumstances, could be worth an astonishing $96,000? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at this coin in a completely new light. The 1967 Washington quarter is part of a long line of quarters that honor George Washington, the first president of the United States. But unlike many other years, the 1967 edition holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. To understand why, we need to step back into history for a moment. In 1965, the United States transitioned away from using silver in quarters and dimes due to the rising cost of silver. The mint began producing coins primarily from copper-nickel clad, instead of the traditional 90% silver. By 1967, all circulating quarters were struck in this new composition, making the 1967 quarter part of an era where collectors were learning to adjust to a completely new type of coin. But even in a year with millions of quarters produced, certain variations and rare errors emerged that make some coins incredibly valuable today. Let's talk about the design first. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, a design that has adorned the quarter since 1932. On the reverse, you'll find the classic eagle with outstretched wings, perched majestically on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a symbol of strength and peace. While the design is iconic, the real magic comes from the rarity and unusual errors that occasionally appear in this series. You might be wondering, how does a coin that was widely circulated become so rare and valuable? The answer lies in the errors, mint marks, and condition of the coin. One of the most sought-after features for the 1967 quarter is the proof coin, which was not released for general circulation that year. Proof coins were specially struck for collectors, often with sharper details and mirror-like surfaces. A 1967 quarter that survived in pristine, uncirculated condition is extremely rare and highly coveted. But there's more. Some coins from this year show striking errors, which can turn an otherwise ordinary quarter into a collector's treasure. For instance, a coin might have a double die error, where elements of the design are doubled due to misalignment during the striking process. Other errors include off-center strikes, where the design is partially missing, or clad errors, where the metal layers are improperly fused. Coins with these kinds of mistakes are unique, often one-of-a-kind, and can command remarkable prices among collectors. Collectors and numismatists love the 1967 Washington quarter because it represents a transitional period in American coinage. It's a coin that is easy to overlook in everyday change, but becomes extraordinary under the right circumstances. When a collector finds one in gem mint condition, free of scratches, wear, or circulation marks, it is a rare treasure that only a handful of people in the world might own in that perfect state. Another factor contributing to the coin's value is the mint mark, or sometimes the absence of one. Coins struck at the Philadelphia or Denver mints in 1967 generally have D, or no mint mark, and certain rarities among these issues are highly prized. Coins that were accidentally mismarked or missing their mint designation can attract serious attention from collectors, who are willing to pay top dollar for these anomalies. Now, let's talk about the market. While most 1967 quarters are worth just a few dollars to collectors, those in perfect, uncirculated condition or featuring rare mint errors can sell for exponentially higher prices. These coins often appear at auctions, where bidding can get intense as collectors compete for a truly rare piece. If you've ever held a coin that looks ordinary to everyone else, but has these hidden characteristics, you know the thrill of discovering something potentially priceless in your own pocket or collection. And that brings us to why this coin is so captivating. It's the blend of historical significance, design, and rarity that makes the 1967 Washington quarter dollar so alluring. For a coin lover, it's not just about the monetary value. It's about the story, the era it represents, and the unique circumstances that make some coins extraordinarily rare. Imagine holding a piece of American history in your hand, a coin that traveled through decades yet remained untouched and perfect, waiting for someone to recognize its true worth. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1967 Washington quarter dollar in flawless, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an incredible $96,000. That's right. What seems like a small piece of metal could hold a fortune in the hands of the right collector. So, next time you find yourself sorting through coins or discover a handful of old quarters tucked away in a drawer, take a closer look. That ordinary coin from 1967 might just be a gateway to one of the most exciting finds of your collecting journey. Top 2, we're turning our spotlight to an American classic, the 1969 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might look like a typical quarter you could find in your change, but trust me, if you own the right version of this coin, it could be worth an astonishing $92,000. Yes, you heard that right. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to see why this coin is such a prized gem among collectors. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, honoring the first president of the United States. By 1969, the United States had already transitioned away from silver quarters, producing coins primarily from a copper-nickel clad. While millions of quarters were minted that year, certain features and rare errors make the 1969 quarter a standout for collectors. Let's start with the design, because it's iconic. On the obverse, you'll find George Washington's portrait, designed by John Flanagan, which has been a symbol of American heritage for decades. On the reverse, you'll see the American eagle with outstretched wings, perched above a bundle of arrows and an olive branch. While this design is familiar, the real fascination comes from the rarity, minting errors, and condition of specific coins. Even though the 1969 quarter was widely circulated, some coins from that year have become extremely rare due to unique minting circumstances. One of the most valuable versions is a coin that was struck in proof-like condition or with exceptional detail. These coins were often kept by collectors at the time and carefully preserved, making them incredibly hard to find today. A 1969 quarter in perfect, uncirculated condition can be a collector's dream, and it's exactly these pristine examples that attract attention at auctions and private sales. But what really elevates the 1969 Washington quarter to legendary status are the errors and anomalies. Coins with a double die, where the design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during striking, are especially coveted. Some 1969 quarters have off-center strikes, clad misalignments, or die cracks, making them one of a kind. Each error creates a coin that is unique, rare, and dramatically more valuable than a standard issue. Collectors are drawn to these coins not just because of their monetary value, but because they tell a story. Every minting error or unusual variation is a snapshot of the process, a small quirk of history frozen in metal. A coin that may seem ordinary to someone else becomes extraordinary in the eyes of a collector who knows exactly what to look for. Another aspect to watch for is the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was produced. In 1969, coins were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, with subtle differences that can make certain coins more desirable. Occasionally, a minting error or an unusual combination can appear, creating a coin that is exceptionally rare and highly sought after. These subtle differences can turn an ordinary quarter into a treasure worth a small fortune. It's also worth noting that condition plays a massive role in value. Coins that have been circulated show wear and tear, scratches, or discoloration, which greatly reduces their worth. On the other hand, coins that have been carefully stored and remain in gem mint condition are incredibly valuable. For collectors, finding a coin like this is like discovering a hidden piece of history that has been untouched for decades. The 1969 Washington quarter also represents a transitional moment in U.S. coinage, bridging the gap between silver coinage and the modern clad era. This adds an extra layer of historical significance, making it not just a piece of currency, but a story of the evolution of American coins. The combination of historical importance, rarity, and potential errors is what makes this coin so alluring to collectors around the world. And now, the moment every collector has been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1969 Washington quarter dollar in perfect, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error. It could be worth an incredible $92,000. That's right. A coin that may have been lying in your pocket or drawer for decades could hold a value that seems almost unbelievable. So, the next time you come across a handful of old quarters, take a closer look. One small coin could be your gateway to a remarkable discovery, a piece of American history that carries not just monetary value, but the thrill of rarity and uniqueness. Top 3, we're taking a closer look at a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but holds a world of excitement for collectors: the 1974 Washington quarter dollar. You may have seen these quarters countless times in your pocket change, but if you have the right version, it could be worth an astonishing $88,000. Yes, that's not a typo. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why this coin is one of the most intriguing finds for collectors around the globe. The Washington quarter has been an iconic piece of American coinage since 1932, honoring the nation's first president. By 1974, these quarters were part of a modern era of U.S. coinage, struck primarily in a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than the silver coins that preceded them. Millions of these quarters were minted that year, making the standard coin common. But hidden among them are versions that are extremely rare and highly coveted. Let's start with the design, because it's more than just a familiar face. The obverse of the coin features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which has become synonymous with the American quarter. On the reverse, you'll find the majestic American eagle, wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a symbol of strength, peace, and resilience. While the design is well known, the real thrill for collectors comes from rarity, minting errors, and condition. Even though the 1974 Washington quarter was widely circulated, some coins from this year have become legendary because of rare errors or unique variations. One of the most sought-after features is a coin that has survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Many coins from 1974 went through decades of circulation, collecting scratches, wear, and discoloration. A coin that remained untouched, perfectly preserved, is extremely rare and can fetch incredible attention from collectors worldwide. Errors from this year add an extra layer of intrigue. Some 1974 quarters display double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during striking. Others have off-center strikes, where the design is partially missing, or clad errors, where the layers of metal were improperly fused. These anomalies make the coin unique and highly desirable. Collectors often consider these error coins to be one-of-a-kind pieces, and their rarity drives their value through the roof. Another factor that influences the coin's value is the mint mark, which tells you where the coin was produced. In 1974, quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, and subtle differences in production can make a particular coin significantly more valuable. Occasionally, collectors find coins with missing or unusual mint marks, adding another layer of rarity to an already valuable coin. These subtle details are what separate an ordinary coin from a collector's treasure. Condition is critical as well. Coins with signs of wear, scratches, or corrosion are generally worth very little. But a coin that has been carefully preserved, with sharp details, bright luster, and no blemishes, becomes a gem in the eyes of collectors. The thrill of discovering such a coin is immense because it's not just about money. It's about holding a piece of history in perfect condition, a coin that may never appear again in its lifetime. The 1974 Washington quarter also holds historical significance. It represents a period of stability in American coinage before major changes in minting technologies and designs took place in later decades. This makes it not just a piece of currency, but a snapshot of the era, a coin that connects the past with the present. For collectors, owning such a coin is like owning a small piece of American history, frozen in metal and preserved through time. Now, let's talk about value. While most 1974 quarters are worth just a few dollars to collectors, coins that are unblemished, uncirculated, or contain rare errors can be worth exponentially more. These coins appear at auctions and private sales, often sparking competitive bidding among collectors who understand their true worth. If you find yourself holding a coin that seems ordinary but possesses these rare characteristics, you could be holding a treasure that very few people in the world will ever own. And here it comes, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1974 Washington quarter dollar in flawless, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an incredible $88,000. That's right. A small coin that might have been overlooked for decades could hold a fortune in the hands of the right collector. So, the next time you dig through a jar of old coins, take a closer look. What seems ordinary at first glance might actually be a remarkable find. A coin that tells a story, represents history, and carries incredible value. Top for we're uncovering a piece of American history that might seem ordinary at first glance, but is truly extraordinary for collectors. The 1979 Washington quarter dollar. While most of these coins were minted for everyday circulation, there are rare versions that can fetch an incredible $85,000. That's right. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see why this coin is considered a hidden gem among collectors worldwide. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, honoring the first president of the United States. By 1979, quarters were struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, continuing the trend that began in 1965 after the transition away from silver. Millions of these quarters entered circulation that year, making them seem common. But hidden within these millions are coins that are exceptionally rare, and some even feature unique minting errors that make them priceless to the right collector. Let's talk about the design first. On the obverse, the coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington, created by John Flanagan, a design that has graced the quarter for decades. On the reverse, you'll find the American eagle, wings spread, perched above arrows and olive branches, a classic symbol of strength and peace. While this design is familiar to most people, the true fascination lies in rarity, minting errors, and condition. One of the reasons the 1979 Washington quarter is so highly sought after is the unusual errors and variations that occasionally appear. Some coins display double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during the striking process. Others show off-center strikes, where the design is partially missing, or clad errors, where the layers of metal were improperly fused. Each of these errors creates a coin that is one of a kind, making it extremely valuable in the eyes of collectors. Another factor that makes the 1979 quarter special is the mint mark, which indicates where the coin was produced. In 1979, coins were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, and subtle differences in production, or even missing mint marks, can drastically affect the value of the coin. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rare variations because they are limited in number and highly prized. Condition also plays a critical role in determining value. Coins that have circulated widely show scratches, wear, and discoloration, which reduces their worth. But a coin that has been carefully preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition is a true gem. These coins often appear in auctions and private sales, where collectors compete fiercely to acquire them. Owning one is not just about monetary value. It's about holding a piece of history, a coin that has survived decades untouched and maintains its original brilliance. The 1979 Washington quarter also has historical significance. It represents a period of stability in U.S. coinage, before the mint introduced major technological and design changes in later years. For collectors, this coin is a snapshot of a particular moment in American history. Holding one is like holding a tangible link to the past, a small but powerful symbol of a nation and its coinage traditions. Now, let's discuss why collectors are so fascinated by this coin. A 1979 quarter with rare minting errors or in flawless condition is not just valuable. It's a symbol of luck, timing, and careful preservation. For someone who discovers one in their collection or stumbles upon one in circulation, it's the kind of find that creates excitement and a sense of wonder. This coin transforms from a simple piece of change into a collector's treasure, with rarity and story woven into every detail. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1979 Washington quarter dollar in perfect, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an incredible $85,000. That's right. A coin that might have been overlooked for decades could hold a fortune in the hands of a discerning collector. So, the next time you're sorting through coins or examining an old collection, take a closer look. What seems ordinary at first might just be a rare and valuable treasure, a coin that tells a story, represents history, and carries remarkable value. Top 5, we're diving into a coin that might look ordinary in your pocket, but has the potential to be extraordinarily valuable: the 1981 Washington quarter dollar. While millions of these quarters were minted for circulation, certain versions can fetch an incredible $81,000. Yes, that's right. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why collectors are so fascinated by this coin. The Washington quarter has been a symbol of American coinage since 1932, honoring the first president of the United States. By 1981, quarters were produced in copper-nickel-clad composition, continuing the trend that began in 1965 when silver was removed from circulation coins. Although the 1981 quarter may seem common at first glance, some coins from that year are extremely rare, and their value skyrockets for collectors who know what to look for. Let's start with the design. The obverse features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which has become synonymous with the quarter. On the reverse, the coin showcases the American eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, a timeless symbol of strength and peace. While the design is familiar to most, the real allure for collectors lies in rarity, minting errors, and exceptional condition. Some 1981 quarters stand out because of minting errors, which are highly prized by collectors. One of the most sought after is the double die error, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during striking. Others feature off-center strikes, die cracks, or clad errors, where the layers of the coin are improperly fused. Each of these anomalies creates a coin that is truly one of a kind, making it highly desirable and incredibly valuable. The mint mark also plays a crucial role in the coin's value. In 1981, quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, and coins with unusual or missing mint marks are considered rare. Collectors pay close attention to these subtle differences because they can dramatically increase the coin's worth. Even the smallest irregularity, when preserved in perfect condition, can transform a common coin into a coveted collector's piece. Condition is another critical factor. Most quarters from 1981 have circulated for decades, showing scratches, wear, and discoloration. But a coin that has been preserved in uncirculated condition is a treasure. These coins often appear in auctions and private collections, sparking competitive bidding among collectors eager to own a flawless piece. Holding such a coin is not just about money. It's about owning a piece of history, a tangible connection to a moment in time that has survived decades without losing its original brilliance. The 1981 Washington quarter is also historically significant. It comes from a period of stability in American coinage before major technological changes and design innovations took place in the later 1980s and 1990s. This makes it not only a piece of currency, but a snapshot of American history, representing a transitional era in minting and design. For collectors, it's more than just a coin. It's a story frozen in metal, waiting to be discovered and appreciated. What makes this coin even more exciting for collectors is the thrill of the hunt. A 1981 quarter with rare minting errors or in pristine, uncirculated condition is extremely hard to find. Discovering one is like uncovering a hidden treasure. It's not just a financial investment. It's a piece of history, a story, and a conversation starter. These coins transform from ordinary pieces of change into highly sought-after collectibles, admired for their rarity, beauty, and the fascinating quirks that make each one unique. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1981 Washington quarter dollar in flawless, uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an incredible $81,000. That's right. A coin that might have been lying unnoticed in a jar of change for decades could hold a fortune in the hands of the right collector. So, the next time you're sorting through old coins, take a closer look. What may seem like an ordinary quarter could actually be a rare and valuable treasure, a coin that represents history, uniqueness, and incredible value. Thank you for joining me as we explored the fascinating 1981 Washington quarter dollar. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more rare coins and hidden treasures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a discovery. Stay curious, keep collecting, and may your coins continue to surprise you with their hidden stories. Happy hunting and happy collecting!